Hello everyone. So this video is going to be about the next few months for all the ascendants, and we know lots of things are happening in the world. We could be looking at the end of an era and the beginning of another era. Lots of people are talking about world wars. There is a lot of power change happening in the world, and we will try to understand it from the planetary transits. Mars transit has a major role to play because Mars transits again once in a couple of years, and this time it is not just a transit to Cancer which debilitates Mars, but Mars is also going retrograde in debilitation, and it's going retrograde all the way back to Gemini, and then again going straight, again going to Cancer in debilitation, and finally moving out of debilitation on June 7th, 2025. So we will look at all these things and we will see how other planets are playing a role. We know that Saturn is retrograde right now. It's been retrograde for the last few months. Saturn has been retrograde, and now it's going to go straight on November 15th. Jupiter just went retrograde. Until Feb 4th, Jupiter will be retrograde. And also what? Sun is debilitated right now. And it's going to be debilitated till mid of next month, till about 15th of November. So 15th of November could be a lot of changes for lots of people and the world. All right. We all know that the American elections are knocking at the door. First week of November, 5th of November, is going to be a game changer. A lot of people, a lot of my friends who understand politics are saying that this is one of the most dominant and one of the most significant election in this time period, in this era. We just had the BRICS summit, so that could be a game changer as well. Okay, so let's look at it from the Mars point of view, and we will look at other planets as well. So what happens when Mars debilitates? Mars debilitates in the sign of Cancer. Why does it happen? Because Cancer is what? Cancer is a soft, emotional sign. Healthcare industry is seen from Cancer. Your mother, your home is seen from Cancer. It is the fourth house of the Kalpurush Kundali, right? So your comfort level, your emotions, your feelings are seen from Cancer, right? The healthcare industry. So now we're talking about the healthcare industry. In certain parts of India, especially West Bengal, there is a lot of turmoil going on in the healthcare industry, especially in Kolkata. A lot of doctors are protesting against the government, and they want some changes. And we also must know that Rahu is in Pisces right now. Okay? And Rahu has certain aspects. Rahu looks from wherever it sits. Rahu is going to look at Cancer, and it is going to look at Scorpio. On that note, Venus is in Scorpio right now. So see, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. So, coming back to Mars being in Cancer. So Mars is signified as a soldier, right? Mars is shown in Vedic Astrology as someone in a commanding position. Okay, people in strong commanding positions in companies or in the government or police, army is seen with a strong Mars. Okay, so Mars exalts in the sign of Capricorn. Why? Because Capricorn is duties, Capricorn is structure, long-term duty. So a soldier can be posted, and that's why Capricorn is the perfect sign. Although Saturn and Mars don't really get along, but exalts in enemy sign, because the aggression of Mars, the fighting spirit of Mars, needs the direction and discipline and patience and structure of Capricorn, which Saturn's sign Capricorn is capable of giving to Mars. So a soldier without discipline is not really a soldier, right? Now what happens? We send that soldier back 180 degrees to Cancer, where Cancer is your feelings, your emotion, where Venus does well, Jupiter does well, Moon does excellent. But Mars's aggression and Cancer's emotional energies do not get along. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have seen the movie Rambo. Okay, I'm sure most of you have seen, because it is such a popular movie. So what happens in the first couple of parts of Rambo? So Rambo is a soldier, right? He's like trained by the best, and he's like one of the special forces, special task force. Okay, they drop him in the enemy territory, and then he goes and does his job alone, and he knows all different kinds of warfare. So when he comes back home, is he able to fit in with the civilian world? He tries to fit in with the civilian world, but eventually what happens? His Mars energy kicks in, and then he's equipped, he's got his gun, he's got his bombs, and he's fighting against the government, against the home that he's been sent to. So the ones that haven't watched Rambo movies, watch the first part, the first movie of Rambo. Okay, Sylvester Stallone's, and that is a very, very good example of Mars in Cancer. Okay, now that doesn't mean this is the same impact that you will have, but we will study that in detail. I'm going to talk about a few dates which are very, very significant. Why? Because Mars is not, this is not like any other debilitation. Because in this debilitation, Mars also goes retrograde, which means Mars becomes extremely, extremely powerful. All right, that is what is retrogression. So wherever Aries and Scorpio is in your charts, there will be some action. I can guarantee this to you. There will be definitely some action in those particular signs during Mars going retrograde in Cancer, and then eventually it goes to Gemini. So let's look at some dates. So Mars retrogression is about 80 days. So it went retrograde just a few days ago, October 20th, and it's going to be retrograde for quite some time. It's going to be retrograde in Cancer from December 6th. So from December 6th to December 6th is going to be retrograde in Cancer till Jan 20th. So those days, your new year, be very careful. You can skip to the timestamps, but I must tell you the logic how I will talk about each ascendant. Okay. It goes into Gemini on Jan 1st and then continues the retrograde motion till Feb 23rd. Okay. And you know Mars doesn't really like being in Gemini because it considers Mercury as its enemy. Gemini is communication, business. Gemini is also the Karaka of your hand, significator of your hands. So Mars retrograde in Gemini can cause physical violence as well. Miscommunication, aggressive communication can happen even when it's in Gemini. It's not that Mars does great in Gemini. Okay, and then finally it stops the retrograde motion on Feb 23rd and goes into Cancer on April 3rd. Okay, again goes back to debilitation. And then finally moves out of debilitation on June 7th into Leo, which is much better placed. It's in a friendly sign. It is in Leo. But again, there is still a lot of fire. And remember, Leo is the sign of all the government in the world. So we can expect a lot of changes, Mars-related changes in the world, in the government. Okay. Let's also look at some other dates. Jupiter went retrograde on October 9th and it's going to be retrograde till Feb 4th. Saturn finally starts moving straight or progressive on November 15th. These are again trigger dates. There is Sun transit to Scorpio also happening on the same date. Then Saturn is going straight. And we have to talk about the great conjunction that is happening on March 30th. Lots of astrologers have already spoken about it, so go check it out how it is. It's happening in Pisces. So wherever Pisces sits in your charts, okay, will definitely get some action when this massive 6-planet conjunction happens on 29th and 30th of March, when Saturn and Rahu will be conjunct in Pisces. Saturn transits out of Aquarius. Alright. So these are the dates to watch out for. If you're running through Mars Mahadasha, if you're running through if Mars is in your ascendant, you should be watching this video. If Mars is conjunct to your Lagna Lord, you must watch this video. And you definitely should watch this video if your moon sign is either Aries or it is Scorpio. And you should also watch this video if your Mars is in Cancer, Gemini, or if it's in Leo as well. Alright, so let's jump to the Aries Ascendant. Alright, so for the Aries Ascendant, Mars will be transiting to your 4th house. Okay, so we will look at certain things in the 4th house. From there, Mars also looks at your 7th house, and Mars looks at your 8th house. Okay, now the results with this particular transit, especially on the dates where Mars goes retrograde, which starts on December 6th to Jan 20th, you must be really careful about your relationships with people, especially your spouses, your boyfriends and your girlfriends. And not just that, since the aspect of Mars is on your 11th house from the 4th house, you will also be very careful with your relationship with your friends, your network circles. What can happen, especially when Mars goes retrograde, Mars is known to take impulsive decisions. Okay, people could suddenly have an emotional outburst and want to break off their relationship with their spouses, and also can cause a lot of emotional turmoil during this particular time. So Aries Ascendant, I would, if you're watching this video, or if you know someone that is an Aries Ascendant and is a family member and a friend, I would really ask you all to be very careful about your impulsive decisions during this particular time, especially with your home, people that you consider family, and people that you have close relationship with. When Mars goes to Gemini again, all right, this is again not a very good placement for having communication. If you have pent up issues that you want to talk to your family members or your relations, especially spouse, okay, it is not the right time to talk about those issues. Wait a few months, wait for Mars. I know this is a long time. Mars will transit out only on July 7th. This is a perfect time for you to work on your health, let me tell you. And again, what kind of exercises? What kind of exercise? You will not do anything which is heavyweight, because Aries Ascendants like to exercise, and they are into looking after their body. If Mars is well placed, that is. You will not do heavy weights. You will not go to the gym and try to lift 120 kgs. You will do cardio, something that doesn't get you injured. Okay, it is the time of fireworks, New Year's time celebration, Diwali. Please be very, very careful with the fireworks. Please stay away from fireworks and do not try to go very close with the fireworks. This time is not really good because of the Mars debilitation in your fourth house. Also during the ones that celebrate the festival of lights, Diwali, especially my audience from India, be very, very careful when you're lighting lamps. You have to be careful of the Mars debilitation because it's happening in your fourth house of home. So precaution is the key. All right. Sun is also debilitated, especially till November 15th. Since Sun is also debilitated in your seventh house, your business partnership and especially the relationships with your spouse can be up and down, emotional up and down. There could be ego related flaring, high volume arguments. So please avoid having any confrontational arguments with your business partners and your spouses. This is a time to be quiet and listen more. Talk less and listen more. Okay. The great conjunction that will happen during March, you could be making some travel plans as well, all right, to foreign lands. So again, I advise do not get into any adventure sports. Otherwise, later part, after the first quarter of the next year, I think it could be financially and even work-wise very, very successful for you, especially from June onwards. If you're going through a Mars Mahadasha, but till then the time period is not very great. Okay. Jupiter transit later on in this year will again bring you lots of good fate, lots of good health. So the remedies is gardening, connect to Mother Earth, walk barefoot on the beach, don't go deep sea swimming. Okay, if you're a swimmer, don't avoid deep sea, avoid water sports right now. Don't do anything that can get your bones broken right now. Okay. Apart from that, overall, next year, second quarter, July onwards, especially when Sun transits, even the Sun transit to Capricorn, Makar Sankranti on January 14th could be very, very beneficial for you in your work. In your workplace, you could get promotions, you could get special, and even in February, you could get gains from the government, gains from authority. You could, get promoted. You could have a job change. You could go back to something that you were looking at, and consider, hey, you know what, that was going on. It's especially in the next couple of months, a lot of you must be thinking that, hey, something that I was doing a couple of years ago, can I do that again? There could be a change of perspective from your job. Some people who are working could want to do, hey, can I do something on the side? Okay. There could also be some ups and down plans that, okay, shall we go here? There could be arguments between friends and family that, hey, we will go here, we will go there. Why? Because Jupiter is also retrograde. Jupiter is the Karaka for travel, right? So there could be arguments that, hey, I want to go here, I want to go there. There could be arguments between couples that okay, fine, you go here, I will go there. Right? So if you're watching this, make sure that you don't get into any arguments. Like I said again, the best remedies are karmic remedies. Your action is in your control. Get involved in some kind of sports to channelize the Mars energy. And some kind of sports that doesn't get you injured. Okay? Good cardio, anything to do with gardening, connecting to, you can also do Hanuman Chalisa on Tuesdays. It's very good. All right? Any Mars related remedies, lots of astrologers will tell you, but my remedies are mostly to do with your karma. Okay? So be nice to your gurus and avoid conflict at your workplace. Right now it's not the right time to ask for a salary hike. Okay? All right. So if you found this video useful, please share it with your friends. Please share it with your friends who have Aries Ascendant, or they have a cluster of planets in Aries, it might help them out. Okay, let's move to Taurus Ascendant. Alright, so for the Taurus Ascendants, this particular conjunction is this particular debilitation of Mars, and then the retrograde movement of Mars, which is the dates for the retrograde movement in Cancer is going to start from December 6th to Jan 20th. So make a note of this particular date. Your New Year, your Mars is going to be retrograde in the sign of Cancer in your third house. Okay, so if you're going through Mars Mahadasha, Mars Antardasha, and if Mars is conjunct with your first lord or Mars is in your first house, you need to be very careful, because this third house is the house of communication. So the positives with this particular placement is people might want to consider starting their own business, because Mars can give a lot of courage. The third house is the house of courage, creativity with hands. Okay, it can also trigger you to make short-term plans to go somewhere for a holiday. It is the holiday season, all right, but there are certain things that you must be careful about. Okay, especially with your younger siblings, because third house, your younger siblings are seen from the third house. Okay, so this particular transit, it can give you some kind of a communication gap, or there could be disagreement even when you're making that travel plan, the third house travel plan. There could be a disagreement. So don't make a plan in haste. Okay, slow down and make a plan. All right, if you're planning to go somewhere, it is time to again listen more and pay more attention to what your family wants to say. Okay, this particular placement can definitely cause a lot of communication issues, and since it's the third house, all right, you need to be very, very careful. Channelize this energy by exercising. The best way to channelize this energy. It is also a good time to go for a solo trip. It is a great time for introspection. Why? Because Jupiter is also retrograde for quite some time. Jupiter is going to be retrograde till February 4th. It has been retrograde from October 9th. So make a note of these dates that I'm telling you. Okay. It is a great time to go introspect on what are the things that you do career wise in your life, because Mars in the third, when Mars transits to the third house, it can invoke the courage for Taurus ascendants to get into anything to do with asset management or land property dealing, the food and beverages industry if you've been making these plans, the travel industry, right? So one second. Yeah, also Saturn has been transiting in your 10th house, so people may be considering a change of career. Okay, the next transit of Saturn, that will be in March 30th, could bring lots of gains for you. So your business plans that you're making could start giving results in the next few months. Okay, and especially Jupiter transiting later on in the year to your second house can really materialize. Especially Jupiter and Rahu will be one in aspecting each other. So it could give you very, very good returns. Okay, so overall I consider this particular transit of Mars, looking at Rahu as well, because Rahu is looking at Mars from the 11th house. So there could be gains, especially in the mid of next year. You guys can, if you're into business or if you're anything to do with the world outside, social media, networking, you could get a lot of gains in your business through even partnership and your own efforts, because third house is the house of own efforts. So how will you get the positives of this particular transit? It is to be very peaceful and calm with your communication. It is to exercise, because Mars energy needs exercise. Exercise is good for everyone to channelize the Mars aggression. not to avoid conflict and arguments with family and friends, and especially business partners. Okay, your boss at work, your colleagues at work, please be very careful when you're having written communication. See, third house is the house of hands. Written communication is seen from the third house. When you're writing emails, and if you're really angry, don't write an email. Okay, proofread your emails, proofread your calls. Before you make a call to someone, think, what am I going to say? So since Mars is in Mars, in Cancer, Mars loses power, so Mars can take impulsive decisions. So avoid taking impulsive decisions during this time. Okay, wait for your Venus to transit to Capricorn, and then you will definitely see a lot of change and you get positive results. Take good care of your younger siblings, because this Mars is passing through your on the house of your younger siblings. Even on your neighbors, do not. Third house is the house of neighbors, so do not get into any conflict with your neighbors. You will see your neighbors might want to get into conflict with you. Since you know and you're watching this video, you will back down and you will not get the Mars energy and say, I will also fight back. It is a time to introspect and focus on your career and your future, and work on not ruining relationships with neighbors, friends and families. There's a lot of change that will happen in the world, as we know that the American elections are going to happen. November 5th, the world will change. And then the BRICS summit just happened. So India, Russia, China, Brazil, UAE, Iran, they've all are establishing commerce. And I'm sure the Western world is not very happy with the Asian countries and the Latin American and African countries establishing commerce with Russia, because they have been boycotting Russia for a while. So there could be a global change in the scenario of the world. So this is a good time to introspect and see what else you can do, because Taurus Ascendants are usually into banking, asset management, numbers, data. You like all these things. All right. So all the best, and if you like this video, please share it and subscribe and comment if you have any questions. Hello, Gemini Ascendants. So this particular transit is happening in your second house. All right. What is the second house? Now, the second house is your savings, your family, your speech, right? And this particular this particular transit of Mars is causing a Dhan Yoga for you. So this is on the positive side. So this particular transit of Mars, especially between October 20th and December 6th, could give you some incoming gains from your business, from your work, whatever you've been working on. All right. And also later on next year, when Mars transits to Cancer once again, a small Dhan Yoga is going to be formed after April 3rd. Okay, so it's a time for you to get incoming gains, because it's causing a Dhan Yoga. The times that you need to be careful, so make a note of this, of the times, which is when it goes retrograde, which is from December 6th to Feb 23. Now December 6th to Jan 20th, when it is still in the sign of Cancer, it could be very, very powerful for your incoming gains, by the way, because Mars becomes retrograde and it becomes, and it's also debilitated. You have to remember that. But it becomes retrograde, and it is your 11th Lord coming to the second house. So this is a good time for you to expand your business and get the dates I've given you. Okay, so if you've been working on something, this is probably the time you will get the results. The time that is not very good for you, you need to make a note of this date as well, which is Gemini. When it enters Gemini, which means it comes back to your ascendant. Now, Mars considers Mercury as its enemy. So the time between Jan 21st and Feb 23rd is not the best time for you. Why? Because it's retrograde and it's coming to your ascendant. All right. Now, what are the negatives to expect and what are the positive? Firstly, you need to look after your health. This Mars, as we know, is the Karaka for injuries. You can get injured. Okay. So don't do anything. This is the holiday season. Don't do anything that can get your bones broken. No adrenaline, no adventure sports. Be very careful. Don't get into intoxications. Okay. Holiday season, people who like drinking can get too drunk and meet with an accident. So avoid all of that, especially the dates that I've given you. Mars will transit to your second house. It can make your Vani or your speech a little harsh, especially with your family and friends, and also at your workplace. So make sure that your business partners and your workplace do not get impacted with this. It looks at your fifth house of children. So again, watch out your communication with the children. It is a good time to spend time with the children and do physical activity. You utilize this particular transit to spend good quality time with your children if you have children, or your friends and family. Great time to spend time with your friends and family into sports related activities. Play with them. Okay. And again, the sports you choose should not cause injuries, right? Because Mars is debilitated and Mars is going to go retrograde for quite some time. Okay. So the negatives, I have already told you: injuries, burn, Diwali is coming, fireworks during New Year time, during Diwali time. Be very careful of fire related issues. Okay. So apart from that, Saturn is in a very good place for you. Saturn will go progressive on November 15th. So looks like you will plan a vacation, which will be very fruitful for you. But remember the things I've told you in the vacation, things not to do. Do not go overboard with anything that can get you injured. All right. The next year when Jupiter transits to your Lagna will be very, very beneficial. There could be change of jobs, lots of good opportunities coming your way in your career, and also your relationship. There could be a new relationship and marriage. People who are wanting to get married could be on the cards next year, especially after June. All right. The time period from Jan, Makar Sankranti, 14th Jan to 14th Feb, be again very careful. Do not do anything silly that can get you injured, because Sun will transit in your 8th house, and that can again give you some kind of a problem or issue with your health. Okay, so be careful of what you eat, because Mars will be passing through your second house, and that is your throat, and also it can cause some injuries through your mouth. So be very careful of your throat and your face area, this particular area, first house and second house area. All right, channelize the Mars energy. You can also get into gardening. It's very, very good. All the Mars remedies, Hanuman Chalisa on Tuesdays, then Mangal Navgraha month, all this is very good for you. Okay. Rahu will be looking at Mars, so also good time to look at opening your own business, especially in the communication and anything to do with technology and communication. You may prosper later on if you're considering that as well. All right, so that's all I have for the Gemini Ascendant. Let's look at the Cancer Ascendant. All right, Cancer Ascendants. So this particular transit is happening in your first house, and it is also going retrograde in your first house. So Cancer Ascendant, this is a time to be practical and not emotional. Okay, so this is This is the primary thing that you must tell yourself in the next few months. Because this transit, especially if you're going through Mars Mahadasha, Mars Antardasha, or if your ascendant lord is conjunct with Mars, or it is aspecting Mars, this can cause a lot of emotional ups and downs. It can also cause a lot of aggression. Your spouse could be giving you some kind of an emotional problem, or you are giving some emotional problem to your spouse. So the best thing to do again for the Cancer Ascendant, and even if you're a Cancer Moon, is to introspect and not be confrontational. It is a good time to listen and not speak. Even if your friends and your spouse are trying to trigger you, you shall not indulge. Okay? Say that if someone is texting you, say that I will talk to you later. I hear what you're saying. You don't have to immediately respond, because the problem with Cancer Ascendants is patience. Moon is fast moving, and then again Mars is also not particularly slow moving. So this debilitation, and especially the retrograde time, so make a note of these dates. The retrograde time in Cancer from December 6th to Jan 20th. This time, do not take any impulsive decisions. Do not get into confrontational modes with your spouses, your business partners, and people at work, even your friends and family, especially your mother, because it looks at the 4th house from there, and then it looks at the 8th house. Your in-laws, do not be very, very nice to your in-laws. This particular transit, if you're not paying attention, could cause some severe problems at home. I do not want to scare you, but I want my job, my responsibility is to let you know about this, so that you are not indulging. See, a person without your reaction is powerless. Even if someone is trying to anger you, if you don't react to it, you are able to diffuse the situation. All right. When it goes to Gemini, when the transit happens to Gemini, especially from Feb onwards, this creates a yoga for travel, even to foreign lands. But that period is not very good for your health. So your health should be the primary responsibility of yours in the next few months, especially till July 5th or July 7th, when it transits to Leo. Okay, and when it transits to Leo, you will definitely get some positive results. But till then, the time is not very good emotionally, and also for your physical health. All right. Looking at the other planets, Rahu is definitely causing a yoga for travel, long distance travel, higher learning, good time to introspect, good time to focus on your career, good time to say, hey, I want to take this. Let me use this time to learn something new, learn something online, get yourself enrolled in a course online. You will get positive results from your network circle and your older brother because of the placement of Jupiter, especially after February 4th, when Jupiter starts going straight. Money that has business people that are waiting for incoming gains will start getting the incoming gains from Feb first week onwards. After March 30th, when the great conjunction happens, you might get some great news, right? So let me know when that happens, because that conjunction in Pisces is happening in your 9th house. There could be travel for a very long time. You might want to move to a different country. Things that for education, people who are waiting to go to a different country for studies, can happen. Okay, so the times to look out for, the dates I've given you, please make a note of those dates and be very calm. Channelize the Mars energy, exercise. Do not go swimming. I do not recommend you. You might be the best swimmer, but this is the vacation. You do not go swimming. Okay, do adventure sports, nothing that can get your bones broken. Channelize, do gardening, spend time with nature. Fantastic. Mars is the son of Dharti. Mother Earth is the mother of Mars as well. So the more you connect with Mother Nature, Mars is going to give you, it's going to calm your energies down. Exercise as well. Get into sports, exercise. Great time to acquire knowledge and work on your physical health. Alright, so that's all I have for the Cancer Ascendants. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. If you have any other friends who are or family that are Cancer Ascendants, please share this video with them. And if you found this video useful, hit the like and the subscribe button. Okay, let's talk about the Leo Ascendant. Hello, the Lions, the Leos. So the Leos, Mars is one of the most benefic planet for Leos, the most Yogakaraka planet for Leos. And what happens when this goes debilitated? It goes to your 12th house and then it goes retrograde. You make plans to travel. Why? Your 9th lord going to the 12th house. Okay? But is the travel going to be fruitful or not? Okay? That is something that we need to figure out. Alright? So if the travel is going to be fruitful if you are channelizing it to Mars's energy. Alright, which means that Mars is the Karaka of your higher learning and higher knowledge. So you have to focus on your fitness and learn something new. Now if you're traveling, make sure, even though this travel is just for pleasure, but make sure that you involve this travel that I will learn something new. Okay, avoid swimming because it is going to your 12th house. Okay, avoid water bodies. Make sure you're taking care of your health. Don't do too much adventure sports because especially till, make a note of the date, especially till November 15th, health is not good for Leo Ascendants. Why? Because Sun is also debilitated in the 3rd house. Okay, so if you're traveling before this particular date, take very, very good care of your health because your Lagna Lord is also debilitated. Okay. Jupiter is transiting in your 10th house, and then we have Rahu in your 8th house, and then Saturn is retrograde for a while in your 7th house. So this is a great time and opportunity for you to look at your own business, change of jobs. Jupiter going retrograde, people can Saturn going retrograde. Your 6th lord and your 7th lord going retrograde. So people who are into jobs could consider business, people who are into business could consider jobs, or you want to do both the things. Because 6th house and 7th house, jobs and business, and 10th house Jupiter. Right? Especially when Mars goes back, Mars is in Cancer and it goes retrograde. Look at the dates I've given you. Mars retrograde, December 6th to Jan 20th. Be very careful with your communication. Do not get into aggressive communication with your business partners, with your spouse. Take good care of your health, even with your family, with your mom especially. Okay. 12th house is also the house of isolation. It's a great time to go for a solo trip. It is a great time to go visit monasteries, temples, pilgrimage. Great time. I know you must be thinking I'm asking all the Leo Ascendants to go for a pilgrimage during the peak vacation time, right? But you can club the both. Suppose you're going for a certain for example, if you're going to Goa, all the Indians. So if you're going to Goa, also visit the churches and the temples. There are lots of temples and churches in Goa. All right. So make something 12th house about your travels. All right. Especially when it goes to Gemini and it's retrograde. Jan 21st to Feb 23rd. It is not a good time for business communication. Be very careful about your communication with your network circle, especially your older siblings. And even with your family, spouses. A lot of Leos may have relationship issues during this particular time of Mars retrograde and debilitation. And also especially when Mars is retrograde in Gemini. Okay. When Mars finally transits to Leo on June 7th, the time should be very, very good. especially also when Saturn, after November 15th, when Saturn moves to, when Saturn starts going straight, because Saturn has been retrograde for such a long time, things that you have been working on, because I know Saturn has been retrograde for a while, right? Things that you've been working on, even for your relationship, your business, your work, court cases, law and order, court cases, paperwork, litigation, all that will start taking a step further. Okay? Rahu is in your 8th house, so be very careful of your health, especially your 8th house belt, your lower back, your hip, your genital area, because Rahu can cause some problems in that particular part of your body. Also, when Sun transits to your 4th house, which is Scorpio, Sun doesn't really like being in Scorpio, so again, you need to be very careful with your home and house related matters. Alright? Things at home can go sideways with your communication. So be very careful with how you relate to people, because Mars in Cancer can cause emotional ups and downs, especially with your father, your communication with your father, communication with your gurus, authority, anyone at work. If your students, your teachers or your gurus at work, you could have some kind of a disagreement with them during the Mars retrograde period. Otherwise, when Mars comes back to Gemini, and especially it is retrograde, that could form a very, very powerful dhan yoga for you, and you can make lots of money during that time when Mars is retrograde in Gemini and starts taking a forward motion. So the time period, especially between Jan 21st and April 3rd. Make a note of these dates. Alright. Also, we have to look at Jupiter. Jupiter is again a very, very Yoga Karaka planet for all the Leos. So the Jupiter, Feb 4th, when Jupiter starts going progressive, because Jupiter just went retrograde for you guys, October 9th. So if October 9th something has triggered onwards, it's probably Jupiter related. And Jupiter is transiting in your 10th house of work. So it is not the best time to ask for a change of or a promotion at work. All right. So wait for Jupiter to go progressive and straight, in the straight direction after Feb 4th, and then you can talk to your manager or whatever you want to do to ask for a different role or a promotion. Okay, so let's look at the Virgo Ascendants. Hello, Virgo Ascendants. Let's talk about this particular transit. I know lots of Virgo Ascendants have had a lot of transformation in the last 1 year. And that is because of Ketu being in your 1st house and Rahu transiting your 7th house of relationship, business, and how you relate to people. So let's look at how the Mars transit in your 11th house of incoming gains is going to be like. All right. So this transit, first I will talk about certain positives. So especially since it's happening, you're going through Mars Mahadasha or Antardasha, or Mars is very strong in your horoscope. This particular, especially this particular period when Mars is not retrograde. So I've mentioned the dates here of Mars retrograde and Gemini retrograde. It could form some kind of an incoming wealth from your network circle. It could bring you some kind of benefits from the network circle. All right. And on the negative, it could cause, you might want to cut off your network circle. All right. And like, these are the people I don't want to relate to. It could also cause friction with your older siblings. Okay. So watch out the relationship and how you communicate with your friends and older siblings. The time between the time till November 15th, Sun is debilitated in your second house, so try not to spend a lot of money, because that could cause a dent. Any investment could may not work out for you. So wait for Sun to transit out of Libra, because it's happening in your second house. All right. Make sure you're also not consuming something that can give you trouble, because it's the house of your throat. So make sure that you're being healthy and you're eating well and not indulging in any kind of intoxications. Okay. Saturn has been there in your sixth house, which will give you positive results after definitely around the time of November second week, because it moves out of retrogression. Finally, after so many days, it could give you victory on court cases or anything. It can give you victory over enemies. Anyone into sports and competition could get very positive results after that particular date. Okay, it's a great time for the Virgo Ascendants to work, introspect on higher learning, and also focus on travel. It's a great time for long distance travel. This will give you good results. Okay, because of the placement of Jupiter, and Jupiter is looking at your Lagna from the 9th house. Especially when Sun transits to Scorpio. It will definitely give you that particular opportunity for short distance travel, and also some people might want to go long distance travel for a few weeks or a month as well. Okay, so how do you channelize the best results? You do Mars related remedies, connect to earth, gardening, looking after nurturing animals, nurturing plants, walking barefoot, connecting with earth. Fantastic remedies. Going to the gym, looking after your own body will give you great results, because Mars is the lord of your 8th house. Okay, and it is coming to your 11th house, and it is the lord of your 3rd house going to your 11th house, but it is debilitated and it will go retrograde. All right, so be careful investing in high risk stocks or crypto trading. It can backfire for you. Okay, also not a great time to quickly find someone and get married. Okay, because Rahu is in your 7th house. You might meet someone from a different country, or when you're on a vacation, you might meet someone who's completely from a different cultural background, because Mars is activating your 11th house of networking. You can meet them through a friend of yours. Okay. And with the impulsive decision, see, Mars in Cancer can make really impulsive decisions. Okay, so in an impulse, people can say, "Oh, we've just met for a few weeks and quickly get married." All right, so think before you take that decision, especially if you're going through Rahu Mahadasha. Be very careful. Impulsive decisions are usually not the right decisions. Okay, so avoid investing a large sum of money in impulse. Anything to do with business partnership, you need to think it through and then take that step. Avoid doing anything that can get your bones broken, because Mars can give you some ideas to get into adventure sports, which may result in injuries, especially during Diwali and New Year's times when there is firework involved. Make sure that you are staying far away from all and watching the fireworks from a distance. All right, let's look at the Libra Ascendant. Hello, Libra Ascendants. So let's look at this transit for you. Firstly, you need to really look out for your health and relationship with your spouse, because especially till November 15th. Why? Because Sun is transiting in your 1st house. Sun is in Libra right now as we speak, and Sun will transit out only after the 16th of November. Okay, so Sun in your 1st house can a debilitated Sun in the 1st house looks at your 7th house, and it can cause certain frictions with your spouse and your partner. especially when Mars is debilitated. Mars is the lord of your 7th house and it's debilitated in the 10th house right now. And not just debilitated, from the dates that I have mentioned here. Mark those dates. Those dates, the effect is gonna be more. So avoid any confrontations with your spouse and business partner. And since it's happening in your 10th house, we will look at the aspects of Mars. You will also not have any confrontations, any emotional conversation, pent up anger, expression of pent up anger. All this needs to be avoided for the next few months, not weeks, because this debilitation is going to go on for a while. Especially when it's retrograde, you will avoid all these things. Because Mars is also looking at your Lagna from there. Okay? Especially the time that I have given you till November 15th, when Mars is looking at the Sun, which is in your 1st house right now. It can cause ego related, anger related issues, and it may also result in violence. So you will avoid all kinds of triggers if your spouse or your friends or your family or your someone at work has been trying to trigger you and wants a reaction out of you. You will not let that reaction come out verbally and with your emails and your texting people. So the best thing is to not respond and focus on your career ahead. Because there are certain things. See, Rahu is is transiting in your 6th house. And then on March 29, 30th, 2025, there will be a very solid conjunction in your 6th house, which can open your ways to great opportunities in your job and your workplace and your business, and even build connection in foreign lands. Okay? Travel in foreign lands is seen, especially after June transit mid next year. So this is a great time to invest in your own self. Look after your knees really well. Again, like I mentioned, no adventure sports, right? Try not to get your bones broken during the holiday season. A lot of people in the holiday season want to try different kinds of sports and adventure activities. Since this particular transit is happening in your 10th house, in your knees, no arguments and asking for a promotion with your boss right now. It's not the best time. And also with your, it's a good time to look at your investments, see how you can multiply your money. It's a good time to sit back and introspect, especially when the time when Jupiter is retrograde. Spend time communicating with your younger siblings and try to see if you can get into some kind of a business, higher learning, the certificate, the degrees that you've been trying to get. Students who are trying to travel to a different city or a different place for education, these things will open up sometime mid next year. So time is good to lay low and introspect, especially till Sun moves out. Okay, if you're going through Mars Mahadasha or Mars Antardasha, or even if your Lagna Lord is conjunct with Mars, this is not a good time for anything related to getting married or starting a new relationship. It is a time to sit back and work on how you can build your current relationships better. Not just at home, not just with your spouse, but also at your workplace. It's a great time for you to spend time with children, if you have children. It's a great time to look at anything creative. If you want to start a business, because Libra Ascendants like to start businesses. They're more, it's the sign of business. All right. Especially after a couple of months, especially after November 15th, you can look at that time to start your business, especially to do with social media or anything where mass communication is involved. If you're wanting to start a YouTube channel, this is a good time to look at it. because Saturn will start moving, it'll stop going retrograde from November 15th. Jupiter will stop going retrograde on Feb 4th. So this is also causing a Viparit Raj Yoga for you. Can give you lots of grains from Jupiter related energy, especially your 6th house. Alright. So share this video with friends who are Libra ascendants or who have a very strong Libra chart or the cluster of planets in Libra. This could be useful for you. And now we will quickly look at the Scorpio Ascendant. Hello Scorpio Ascendant. So we will look at the placement of your Mars. Your Mars is going to go back and forth in your 9th house, which is the house of your higher learning, your long distance travel. Your gurus can be your father as well. And then it goes retrograde, and then it goes back to your 8th house, and then goes straight, the dates I have mentioned here, and comes back to your 9th house. So definitely travel, triggers some kind of a travel or higher learning, or maybe both. Okay. Also, Rahu has been looking at it, and Rahu is going to look at it every time Mars goes to Cancer. Now, the malefic effects of Rahu will only play up, especially it will be more on the dates that I have mentioned here, where Mars is not just debilitated, but it is also retrograde. So look at those dates and mark those dates on your calendar. And I would like you to avoid making impulsive travel plans, because Mars can make your Mars is your Lagna Lord. Okay, so utilize this travel, utilize this to make organized and structured travel plans. You can look at a solo trip as well right now. Okay, and since it's happening in the sign of Cancer, all right, avoid anything that can get you injured, especially your thigh area, okay, and your entire ascendant, right? So adventure sports are not advised. You will get great energy if you invest this time in for your health and anything to do with nature. This could be if you're planning to go for a vacation, you can look at going to some place which has got a beach and it's got trees and plants everywhere, and walk barefoot on the beach, walk barefoot on grass, exercise every day. So this could be a vacation that you can utilize to come back healthier than what you left while you were working. So that is what is going to give you fantastic results. If you're planning a solo trip, it's great. If you are not planning a solo trip, then make sure that your communication with your friends and family is not harsh, because from the 9th house, the 7th aspect goes to the 3rd house of communication, and then it also looks at Saturn in the 4th house. All right, and a debilitated Mars looking at Saturn in the 4th house can cause turmoils, change of place, and can cause a lot of turmoil in the peace of mind at home. Okay, so be very careful. Not the best time to get into arguments with your spouse and your family members at home. Great time to introspect, make plans for the next few coming months. If you have plans to learn something new, if you're looking at a different job, if you're looking at certain businesses that you're trying to get into, this is a great time to make those plans right now. It is a great time to take a step back. This is what retrograde planets tell us. That take a step back. See, even planets stop, go stationary, take a step back, and then find the way forward. So this is a time for the Scorpio Ascendants to do the exact same thing, to be in tune with the planets. All right. So instead of going from point A to point B in one straight direction. If planets with such power cannot do that, then we should also take a step back. This is what the planet's energies are telling us. So if you're not getting what you want for the last few months, Saturn has been retrograde for a while. Jupiter has just gone retrograde on October 9th. It is going to be retrograde till Feb 4th. So these are trigger dates for you. You need to really look out for your health, especially when Mars goes to Gemini. You know, Mars is not very happy in Gemini. So you need to look out for your 8th house belt, especially the dates when it's retrograde. Gemini is retrograde in during Jan 21st and Feb 23rd. That's almost a month there. All right. No sudden movements. Be very nice to your in-laws. It's the house of your in-laws. Gemini, your in-laws are seen from there. So be very, it can cause some conflict with your spouse's family. All right. So the best thing is, again, do not engage in anything that can trigger you. Okay. Don't do anything that can get your bones broken. I've said this to other ascendants as well. This is the holiday times. There's Diwali, there is New Year's, there's Christmas, there is Makar Sankranti. Stay away from fireworks, stay away from injuries and cuts. Okay, with this current placement of current transit of Mars till June 7th, when Mars comes to your 10th house, you will see progress in your career. Things that you've been wanting to do in your business, things will start moving forward. So till then, I request to align with Mars's energy, exercising, gardening, anything to do with the earth. Mars is very happy because Mother Earth is also the mother of Mars. Mahadev is the father. Okay. So is Dharani Garbha Sambhutam, born from the womb of Mother Earth. Vidyut Kanti Samaprabham. These are the shlokas of Mangal. So if you chant the Navgraha mantra and even do Hanuman Chalisa, you will get fantastic results. Gardening, looking after plants, physical activity, Mars is going to give you fantastic results. All right, so let's look at the Sagittarius Ascendants. Hello, Sagittarius Ascendants. So this particular transit of Mars is happening in your 8th house. And if you have Mars in your 1st house, if you have Mars, if you're going through Mars Mahadasha, or your Mars Antardasha, or even if your Lagna Lord is conjunct with Mars. Okay, this video is very, very important for you. So pay attention. This is happening in your 8th house. So be very careful with anything to do with speculated businesses. Not the best time to invest, right? Although it is forming a Viparita Yoga where your 12th Lord is coming to the 8th house, but it is still debilitated. Okay, so this particular, especially the time when it goes retrograde, Mars is one of your most benefic planets. Think and invest in any, if you're investing in cryptos, or if you're investing in equities. All right, your most Sagittarius ascendants are usually always looking out because Virgo falls in their 10th house, so they are always doing the analysis of before investing. It's not the best time. All right. 8th house is also sudden events, so be very careful of injuries, burns, right? So this can cause your health related issues. So it's a time to look out for your health, especially the dates that I've given you for Mars when it goes retrograde in your 8th house. And we all know the 8th house can cause sudden ups and sudden downs. So do not do anything, any adventure sports that can get your bones broken. Okay. When it goes to Gemini, the dates that I have given you here, especially when it's retrograde, those are the dates you need to really look out for your communication with your partner, your spouse, because it transits to your 7th house. 7th house is your business partners and your spouse. and your 5th house is also the house of children and romance. It's all seen from there. All right. So avoid getting into any emotional arguments or confrontations with your spouses, your husbands and your wives, and wait for the conversation later on. Have that conversation later on. Okay. Even your spouses might come across as very confrontational during this time. So try to diffuse the conversation. Okay. Do not react. Because Sagittarius is a fire sign, and Jupiter right now is again transiting in your 6th house. So a small argument can flare up and it can cause long-term separation, because Jupiter in the 6th house can cause issues with the court cases. Divorce can be seen from this particular placement. Okay, so it's best to avoid any arguments or confrontations during the time periods that I've mentioned here, especially when it's in Gemini, especially when it's retrograde in Gemini. It becomes very, very powerful. And since Ketu is transiting in your 10th house, there could be a change of work. People may completely, Sagittarius ascendants may completely lose interest in their work, and they want to completely do something different, right? An IT guy might be wanting to become a lawyer and say, hey, I should have become a lawyer. A different field altogether. So during the time when Mars is there, Mars is transit, people can end up taking impulsive decisions. So make sure you think your decisions through and don't just suddenly go to work and quit, right? Wait for Mars to transit to Leo. See, I have given the date here, June 7th. When Mars transits to Leo, it will form a very, very powerful yoga for you. It can also give you a different, an opportunity in a different country, because from there, Mars looks at the 12th house, and it also looks at your 4th house of home, change of residence, and take you to a foreign land for either higher education, or it could be a different prospect altogether, or it could be with your spouse. You could get married and move, or you want to go move in with your spouse after June 7th. So wait for Jupiter to transit out of the 6th house, because Jupiter is your Lagna Lord. It's a time to look out for your health, especially till February 4th. Jupiter is retrograde till then. Okay, so your Lagna Lord is retrograde. You might take a wrong decision because of impulse. Okay, so if something has been brewing at your workplace, or something has been brewing in your relationships, or something at home, it is time to sit back and introspect. Great time to work on your health. Great time to go for learning, higher learning, something that you can learn, something you can go for a vacation to learn something. You can learn something online. You can learn something about your own industry. Good time to learn. Good time to see what are other prospects, because Saturn is also retrograde. Saturn is going to go straight in November 15th. And when in December 15th onwards, you might get something good at work, because Sun will come to your first house. Sun will shine on you on the Sagittarius Ascendants. And the time between December 15th and Jan 14th, Makar Sankranti, those 30 days, you could get recognized at work. You could also get a promotion. You could, people who are into business could get recognized during that time. That Sun transit will be very good for you. And then again, it gets better from Jan to Feb. Can give you travel opportunities. You might want to go for travel, and it also gives you incoming gains from travel. Okay, so look out for your health. Okay, especially your stomach area, your hip area, because of Mars transiting. Even your lower back, your genital area, your 8th house particular area, because of Mars's transit. Injuries especially. Okay, So all the body parts in that belt or your 8th house belt near your hip, genital area, your lower abdomen, look after that particular area. You could have injuries or you could have some kind of trouble there during this time. Okay, not a great time to have arguments with your spouse. So hold your arguments for Mars transiting to Leo, because then you will probably approach it in a wiser way instead of Mars being in Cancer and using being more emotionally volatile than logical. Okay, change of residence, change of workplace is also on the cards. Alright, so Sagittarius Ascendants, if you found this video useful, click on the like button, share it with other people, because other people must be careful about these dates. These dates are all trigger times. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Let's talk to the Capricorn Ascendants. Hello, Capricorn Ascendants. So this transit of Mars is happening in your 7th house, and it is going back and forth. Your 6th house and your 7th house. Okay. So what is the 7th house? 7th house is your spouse, your business partners, and how you relate to other people. Your relationships is seen from the 7th house. And your 6th house, your enemies, your work, your everyday workplace, your pets, court cases, litigations, sports is all seen from the 6th house. We will also look at Aries. Why? Because Mars is the lord of Aries. Aries sits in your 4th house. And we will look at your 11th house. One of your incoming gains all comes from the 11th house of Scorpio. Okay. So we will try to see what are the positives. So if you have this particular, if you have Mars in your 1st house, or if you are going through Mars Mahadasha, or if you're going through Mars Antardasha, or if you have your Saturn conjunct with Mars, this video is very, very important for you. Okay. So firstly, since this conjunction is happening in your 4th house, look at the dates. I've also given the retrograde dates here. So especially when it goes retrograde in your 7th house, all right, be very careful with any emotional conversation with your business partners and your spouse. Okay, this could cause a lot of trouble. Your spouse could really want to walk out and say, hey, you know what, take an impulsive decision. Why? Because Mars makes a person take impulsive decisions. Now, Capricorn Ascendants do not usually take impulsive decisions. But your spouses could suddenly take impulsive decisions during this time and say, hey, I'm going for a long travel. I want to stay away from you. Okay. So watch out for this particular thing. That is a negative. Otherwise, this conjunction can give you gains from your network circle, gains from your older sibling, because it happens in your 7th house, gains from business. Because Mars will look at your 1st house from there, and it will also look at your 2nd house. So the 11th lord looking at the 7th house, where Saturn is already sitting there, can form a very, very powerful Dhan Yoga. So this is a time to focus on logic and business, and making long-term business plans will give you fantastic results, especially after November 15th, when Saturn stops going retrograde and starts progressing. So all the payments for business people through business that they haven't got can start coming through after that particular date. Okay. Also, Rahu in your 3rd house can give a great opportunity to start new businesses. So if you have been exploring new businesses, Capricorn Ascendants, it's a time to not take action. You take action later on. Okay. But it is a time for planning and learning more about that particular business. Okay. So when planets are retrograde, it's a great time to take a step back and see, hey, listen, let's see if everything is fine. Have we planned everything fine or not? Is everything in its place? Make long-term plans if you're looking to start a business of your own. Okay, Rahu in the third house transit can give a lot of courage to Capricorn Ascendant to break the cycle of job, 9 to 6 jobs, and say, okay, I'm going to now start a business or do something on my own, or I'm going to start a side business. I want to continue my job and still do something else on the side. Okay. So also be very careful at your workplace, especially the times I have mentioned here when Mars goes retrograde in Gemini, Jan 21st to Feb 23rd. Avoid any conflicts there, because it is going to give you negative results with any authority or your other colleagues. Okay. It can also cause trouble at your home, because 6th house can be your mother's siblings, and this is the holiday season where everyone meets. There could be conflict with your mother's siblings. And remember, for Capricorn Ascendants, Mars is the enemy of Saturn. Okay, so especially when Mars is retrograde in the sign of Cancer, the dates December 6th to Jan 20th. Avoid any kind of conflicts with your younger siblings, and especially your mother or anyone at home. Even your neighbors, even if you're not triggering it, your neighbors might want to trigger some kind of an argument with you. Okay, so stay away from it. It's a great time to work on anything to relate it with communication, creativity. Rahu will give you all these opportunity. IT, if you're looking for online education, something to start with education, something to start with creativity with your hands, something to start with technology. It's a fantastic time. Even if you're looking at the food and beverages industry right now, if you're planning to change your jobs, wait till the first half of next year and then take any major decisions. Avoid anything impulsive right now. Okay. Saturn in the second house, before it transits on 30th of March, may give you some kind of wealth and money from somewhere. Okay. So if you like this video, please share it, please like it, and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Subscribe right now. Okay, thank you very much. Let's look at the Aquarius Ascendant. Hello Aquarius Ascendant, how's Saturn treating you in the first house? Alright, so we will talk about Saturn, but we will talk about Mars first, right? So firstly, let's look at some of the pointers here. Okay, Mars is not a friend of Saturn. Okay, so which is why Mars has been given the third house here of courage and struggle. Okay, Aries sits in the third house, and also Mars has been given the responsibility of your career, where Scorpio sits. Okay, and where is it right now? It is debilitated in the 6th house, and then it's going to go retrograde and go back to your 5th house in Gemini, and it's going to be retrograde for a while. Look at the dates I've given you, and then eventually it's going to go straight and then go to your 6th house again, and on July 7th it goes to your 7th house in Leo. Right, so the next few months, Aquarius Ascendants, is going to be lots of changes for you, especially if you're going through Mars Mahadasha, Mars Antardasha, or if your Mars is in your first house, because this is the Karaka of your career. So number one, if you're employed, not the right time to get into any confrontation with your manager or your boss, or if you're into business, and if you have business partners, it's not the time to have any confrontations with them, because it may backfire. All right. But Mars in the 6th house can give you victory over your enemies, but again, it is very weak there. So the best approach is not to get into any confrontations with people at work, because 6th house is, employment is seen from 6th house, and it's happening in your 6th house. Also, avoid taking any loans during this time. How you get the positive energy is to completely clear out your loans, right? So if you're planning to take a loan, some people might be impulsive and I'll take a personal loan and I want to go abroad, because it looks at the 7th aspect, looks at your 12th house. All right, especially when Rahu is looking at it from your 2nd house, right? So you wait for that great conjunction that will happen for all the Aquarius ascendants on March 30th, when the 6th planet conjunction, when Saturn moves to your 2nd house. And then you will see things moving forward, especially after November 15th, because Saturn is still retrograde. So it is a great time to sit back and introspect on your future plans. What you've planned out for your career, for your business, for how you will look at life. It's a great time to contemplate. Jupiter is retrograde. So see, Jupiter retrogression is very, very important for the Aquarius Ascendant, because Jupiter controls both the money houses. For your 11th house and your 2nd house is controlled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is retrograde. Now, does that mean you will not get money? No, that's not how it is. All right. Once Jupiter transits to Gemini, definitely it will look at your 11th house, and money inflow will come. But especially the time that I've mentioned till 4th of Feb. See, Jupiter went retrograde on October 9th. Okay, so, and it is happening from your 4th house. It's very powerful in the 4th house, and it's happening in the sign of Taurus. So this is a great time for you to see how your investments, how will you look at your investments, how differently can you invest your money to multiply it. Is there something that you want to learn? Because Aquarius Ascendants always love to learn. And if you're an Aquarius Ascendant and if you have money related problems, you have to give power to your Jupiter by continuous learning. Okay? The Mars debilitation may cause injuries, so not the best time again for anyone in the world actually. So wherever Mars sits can give some trouble. So Mars from here is looking at your 9th house, so be careful of your thigh and knee area. Don't get into adventure sports. Diwali is coming, New Year's, fireworks, stay away from fire. Mars is the enemy of Saturn, remember. Okay. Also looks at your Lagna from here, so be very careful. Injuries. Best way to channelize this energy is go to the gym, connect to Mother Earth, gardening, looking after animals, looking after plants, walking barefoot. Swimming, again, I will not recommend swimming, because swimming has to do with water. Do not dive if you're going swimming. Do not dive. Do not do anything that can injure you. Do not go deep sea swimming if you're going into the ocean for swimming. Okay. Mars, when it goes to Gemini, especially when it's retrograde, avoid harsh communication with your children as well, because it's the house of children. This is a time to avoid any emotional conversations. This is a time to avoid conversations at all, because you will see this transit is happening for your friends, family, your children. It is transiting somewhere or the other. So you will see a lot of emotional turmoil around you at your workplace, in your family. You will see all this happening. Look at what is happening in the world right now. Okay. So it is a good time for you to use logical behavior. It is a great time to be quiet, be silent, and listen more. Let it transit for the next few months. Let it transit out of debilitation and retrogression. Mars doesn't do really well in Gemini, by the way. Right? It doesn't like Mercury as well. Gemini is the sign of communication. And imagine Mars communicating. It's harsh communication. You don't send Mars to negotiate. Mars is someone who will be at a knife point and negotiate. Like Godfather, right? The movie, Mario Puzo. I will give you an offer that you cannot refuse, or something like that. Let me give you an offer I cannot refuse. So that is what is Mars in Gemini. Retrograde, right? Okay, so Aquarius Ascendants, if you have any questions, please mention in the comments. If you like the video, hit the like button, share it with your friends. People must know about the next few months. This happens every 2 years, and I think this debilitation and retrogression at the same time in Cancer is happening after 40 years or so. Okay, very, very important. It could be a game changer for the world. All right, let's look at the Pisces Ascendant. Okay, Pisces Ascendants. How's Rahu treating you in the first house? All right, if the answer is not very good, things are going to change. So you got to wait for some time. Also, the relationship turmoils will change, because Ketu is transiting in your 7th house, but we are talking about Mars this time. So let's talk about your Mars transit happening in your 5th house. Okay, so Mars happens to be the planet controlling your 2nd house of wealth, your family, your speech, and it is controlling your 9th house, which makes Mars one of the most yoga karaka planet for you. So the good things first, that this particular transit forms a very, very powerful dhan yoga for you. Okay, so it is very, very good for money. So watch out if money has been stuck for business people. This is a time during this particular transit, the dates I've given you, especially when Mars goes retrograde, those particular days, you could get that payment that you have been waiting for all along. Okay. Other good things, you could look at changing a lot of things in the way how you look at your principles and education. You could be also looking at changing the way you invest, because it's happening in the 2nd house. Mars is going retrograde there. It's like, okay, this is my savings here. First, how can I invest my money differently? And this is also because of Jupiter retrograde and Rahu looking at Mars. And Rahu is the planet of change. So Rahu's 5th aspect happening on Mars from your 1st house. So people can move from, okay, I'm investing in this particular market. Let me invest in currencies now. Let me invest in cryptos. Or I'll take it out from cryptos and I'll invest it somewhere else. Okay, it's also a great time to focus on being a little spiritual. Why? Because Jupiter is looking at the 9th house from the 3rd aspect. From the 3rd house is looking at the 9th house, and Jupiter is also looking at your 11th house. So emotional turmoil needs to be avoided. So avoid conversations with children, especially it's happening in your 5th house. How you speak needs to be very well thought of, because Aries is in your 2nd house, and when Mars debilitates, you can be very harsh in the way you communicate with people. So watch out for your communication. Watch out for how you speak with, how you are relating to your gurus, because it's your 9th house. And also watch out for how, especially your in-laws, because that Mars, especially the time I've mentioned here, the Mars debilitated, Mars in Cancer, and when it's retrograde, because it gives the 4th aspect to your 8th house. And the 8th house is the house of your in-laws. And that could cause issues with your spouse. So hold back, don't have emotional outbursts. It's a time to not have any emotional outbursts or have any arguments, any pent up anger that you have. This is a time to vent it out by exercising, by channelizing your Mars aggression in exercising, physical activity. The more physical activity that you do, the more, the better you will get the impact of the Dhan Yoga, the money causing yoga. Mars is causing for you. It's a very, very powerful one. Let me tell you that. Okay. And I would want you to get the most of it. And how do you get the most of it? You give Mars more power. You give Mars more power by exercising, connecting with nature, gardening, looking after plants. Because Mars is the son of Dharti. Father is Mahadev, born from Mother Earth. So any earth related activities, like walking barefoot on the beach, walking barefoot on the ground. Running is even better. Any physical activity is fantastic for Mars. Okay? Nurturing Mother Earth will give you fantastic results. You will get the most benefits, materialistic benefits, especially with Rahu looking at it. Okay? You got to keep your anger in control because Rahu is sitting in your first house looking at Mars. Okay? So like I said, this is a time to channelize all the anger, emotional hurt. Great time to go for counseling, meditation, whatever it takes for you to stay calm till for the next few months, 6 months. Let Mars peacefully transit out of debilitation and go to Leo. It is better off in Leo, in 6th house. Then you can look at your sports related activities and get into competition. It's not great in Leo for you, by the way. Okay. So you will have a great conjunction in your Lagna on March 29th and 30th. So lots of astrologers have spoken about it. So check that out. I think it's going to be very good for you. What you'll avoid adventure sports. Look at your stomach related area. You could have stomach related issues when it especially goes to Gemini. Avoid confrontation with your mother. Look after your chest and stomach area. Chest area, especially when it goes retrograde. Look at the dates here. Retrograde in Gemini. And your stomach area, especially when it goes retrograde in Cancer. Overall, it is a good transit for you from your career and from the material point of view. For health, it is not that great. Injuries can happen in the chest and this particular belt and your stomach area. So it's a time to look after even your thigh and hip area. Your face area as well. So look out for injuries. Stay away from firework, burns, cuts. Stay away from knives, sharp objects. Okay? And take good care of your health. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to share it, go ahead and share it because I have done it for all the ascendants. Look out for other ascendants. If you have a family member, see which ascendants they are. And that's all I have for you. I wish you all the best. Look after yourself. Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.